I'm already gonna feel a little bit like a dick on this one because I don't think I got as hype into this as a lot of other people did. But still, overall, Bethesda's 2018 press conference was good. Much better than whatever the shit it was last year. But I did not really fall into the hype or excitement that I feel like a lot of other people did. A lot of my reactions and expectations were far more tempered. But anyway, let's go through it. It starts off with a kind of bizarre opening where they just talk about how every Bethesda employee is, we're gamers, we're in it for the games, we just want to make games for you, the fans, which I feel like every single other company also says, so it's not really special. That's fine. It was an odd thing to open up with rather than anything that was exciting or hype. Speaking of exciting and hype, they did formally announce Rage 2 after it being leaked. And of all things, they had Andrew WK come out and then perform whatever that song is that was in the Rage 2 trailers. He was a very entertaining performer. Like he gave it his all within that, and it was an excellent performance. Still, that kind of like music event within a press conference still feels weird and a little out of place, and you can kind of tell that in the crowd. And I'm not gonna give Bethesda a free pass on this because it was still just a little out of place and didn't quite fit there. If they like played all the concert music and still showed like Rage gameplay on top of it, that would have been fine. But no, they showed just the concert and Andrew WK, who was admittedly rocking the fuck out and doing an awesome job, but didn't really feel like that fit. If it was any other conference, people would have shat all over him for it. And I think that same mindset needs to be said here for Bethesda's. At least it wasn't a quote cringy performance. It was a good performance. I just don't think it fit well at all. Now, thankfully, after that was done, they did go into Rage 2 gameplay. And what I remember the original Rage was that it was basically John Carmack had developed a really good engine for it, but not a really good game. So I'm really curious to see what this game does that will somehow address that or alleviate it or fix that or whatever. From what I could tell while watching, there were a few things that I saw that I liked. It's, standard first-person shooter fare, open world, the different vehicles. It looked like there's like a little mini dash mechanic, which I really liked. Being able to, like, as you're moving, just do a quick little hop to kind of move forward or get behind cover. I enjoyed seeing that, just a little bit more mobility within a first-person space. It's not a full-on dodge roll or anything, but just having a little quick movement I thought was good. They also showed that you clearly go into a Rage mode where all the colors kind of become that pastel purples and pinks, which actually looks really cool. But without any kind of HUD or anything on screen or anyone talking about it, I had no idea what Rage mode actually did. So it was hard to say if it did more damage or if you became immune to damage. I mean, from the gameplay they showed, they just clearly had player damage just off, because otherwise that guy would have got torn to fucking shreds. So there's a Rage mode, but I don't know what it is or what it does or why you should use it. But it's there and it exists. So just a little more clarity on that, whether it's someone speaking over about the different mechanics. That was one of those times where they did show it, but I don't think the information was conveyed properly enough to really allow viewers to understand. I could be alone in that, but that's kind of what I got out of it. Other than that, I didn't see anything within Rage 2 that maybe get super excited about it, or maybe excited the fact that they're making a sequel, because Rage 1 wasn't exactly amazing by any means. You got different abilities for like melee attacks and stuff, which is cool. They did give a release window for spring next year, which is always good to see. I appreciate it when they give release windows or dates if they can. After that, they moved into the Elder Scrolls card game, which is still a thing, in case you forgot. And they basically said they're gonna give it a big graphical overhaul, which fascinates me, as I don't understand why that's needed or what that's going to help, because I don't recall it being like a bad looking game. Is it for a better HUD or better clarity or just less clutter on the screen or something? I don't know. I'm actually kind of lost on that one. But yeah, visually overhauling it. Oh, they did say it's also coming to consoles. That was another big thing. It's coming to PS4, Xbox, and Switch. That could be part of the reason why they're doing the graphical overhaul, just to make it maybe fit more on home on those. Maybe. That's pure speculation on that. Not a super exciting announcement, but yeah, they just acknowledged that yes, we still have this free-to-play card game, and now there's console versions coming. I do like the idea of being able to play it on Switch, if anything else, but I'm not really huge on Elder Scrolls Legends. And then they actually went into their other Elder Scrolls series, Elder Scrolls Online, where they talked about, they had just had the big Somerset expansion come out, and now they have basically teased the next big updates they're doing for it. Wolf Hunter, which was a dungeon-based DLC, and Murkmire, which is going to be a much more story-based one, especially going into Argonian lore is what they were talking about. I don't know if a lot of people who still play Elder Scrolls Online. I sure don't. From what I've been told, it's way better now than when it first came out, which I believe. But I wasn't enough there to make me want to hop back into it or get excited or want to try it out again. But it's still going. A lot of people are still playing, and you know what? If that's the case, good. If you're playing it, enjoying it, you got some new stuff coming this year. Yeah, they're both this year, I believe. Next announcement which is one of my favorite ones, was they announced the next Doom game called Doom Eternal. It was just a CG cutscene pretty much. It just basically showed Hell on Earth. Haha, Doom 2, Hell on Earth. And showed Doom guy, show up, put some shells into his shotgun, snap into place, pump that bitch, and like just charge at a bunch of demons. As you hear that Doom riff start playing in the background, which that riff alone, really gets hype. Wish they would have showed anything else about it though, but they didn't, because they said they're intentionally holding it back and they're going to be showing off Doom Eternal at QuakeCon in August, which I get, that's something of a tradition for them. They show off a lot of the new Doom stuff or Quake stuff at QuakeCon, because obviously, but man, I would have loved to see anything on Doom Eternal, because I freaking loved their Doom game. But I'm so glad we're getting another one. I was anticipating an expansion pack, if nothing else, but they specifically said that this was a sequel, so very, very exciting. They said twice as many demons and even more ways to make Doom Guy seem more like an unstoppable badass, which is amazing because they did such a good job the first time around. So I would love to see that again. Went to Quake Champions a little bit more. Basically saying that for all this week of E3, they're doing a free trial week where anyone can get in, download Quake Champions, and play it for free. And if you do it within this week, you now own it until it comes out, or forever. You now have Quake Champions. So if you can, hop into that website. I forgot what it exactly was. Look it up online, or on Steam, I think it is. And download that. You get in for free, and now you're just a part of that beta or the early access. Don't have to pay your way into it, and you just got it, which is super cool. Basically offering a free game. I'm not really a Quake guy though. Not my speed. When it comes to first-person shooter stuff, I do prefer Doom over Quake. Quake is much more multiplayer-based, and this one, the hero-based arena games, again, not really my jam, but free. Speaking of free, another good thing they did, went into Prey. Last year's Prey, they have a lot new stuff for it this year as well. Big ones, I wish they kind of went into a little more detail on some of them. One was a New Game Plus mode. Awesome, always cool to see for replayability. Story mode, whatever that means. They just remove all the combat and you just get to experience the story. I'm not sure. They didn't touch on that one at all, and I kind of wish they did, because otherwise, to me, story mode is just the single player mode, but whatever. And then they also have a survival mode, which sounds like it'll be like I don't know, one life only, or maybe food and water is important. I'm not sure. It didn't really touch on that a whole lot either. And then they also announced an all-new Moon Crash expansion, basically, where all the three modes were all applied to Prey, as you knew previously, and Moon Crash is an all-new thing taking place on the moon, where it's more or less, from what I gathered from it, a roguelike, where every time you die, you start over, every death matters, and you just continue to play through. They said loot is randomized, enemy placement is randomized, your pathway through the moon is randomized, and you basically try to escape or get off the moon. And yeah, that's what I got out of it. There's also an additional mode with that called Typhon Hunter, which is it's prop hunt. It's a prop hunt mode. What'd they put that in? They put it in one of the Call of Duties, I forget which, but they're bringing it over into Prey, where 5 players play as the mimics, and they just try to become everyday objects, and the other players have to hunt them down. Prop hunt's fun. Oh, it's another free thing they added, but all of those things, New Game Plus, Story Mode, Survival, Moon Crash, Typhon, all of it's free and available now. That's pretty huge. That's something that Bethesda has always done an excellent job of, is announcing something and it's being like, you can get it right now, bitch. So if you have Prey, it's pretty much already updated and all those things will be in there. Excellent. Do like that a lot. They then went into an expansion pack for Wolfenstein-2, the New Colossus. Another excellent shooter game from last year that they did. They basically announced they're going to go into the future by a couple of decades into the 1980s, and you play as BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters in a 2-player co-op setting. I'm a sucker for co-op, and Wolfenstein was dope, so I'll probably play this too. Again, that's another one of those things where they showed off a really neat trailer for it, but didn't really give us anything for what the game is going to be like or what we can expect from a co-op experience. If it's just going to be 2 people running through rooms and shooting dudes, or if it's going to be like, I don't know, separate objectives or helping each other out through areas by pressing switches and buttons or whatever. I would have liked to see more about that, but I have faith in them, and even if it is just like running through and shooting dudes in the Wolfenstein setting, just based on that game alone, co-op, will be super fun. But that's just another one of those things that, man, I wish they showed a little bit more on. They went into a little bit of VR stuff from there. They have a VR stuff coming for Prey, including that prop hunt Typhon mode, and a new puzzle mode is what they said, along with a, for those 2. So like a puzzle mode for Prey, and then the prop hunt mode, which actually sounds kind of awesome. And then Wolfenstein 2 is also going to be getting a VR mode, where you play as a hacker and you can like hack your way through the Nazi robots and take them over. Now they talked about both of those, didn't show them at all, which is a bummer. Reoccurring theme within Bethesda here, but they sound promising and they're cool ideas that these are starting to do. And then they went into, they did a really funny gag about Skyrim being on everything. At this point, Todd Howard finally comes out and everyone's just like, yeah, Todd Howard, you're the best. I don't know at what point people elevated him to godhood, or is it just becoming, he went from meme and transcended to up to that? I don't know how that happened, but man, that's obnoxious. But he came out and did a really great gag and kind of were self-aware about how Skyrim is showing up on anything. And they had a pretty funny video about playing Skyrim on an Alexa device with Keegan-Michael Key was the actor in it. It was a good joke. But anyway, after that, Todd Howard finally gets into Fallout 76. And he did a really good job of actually detailing a lot of the features on it. It starts off showing the same trailer that was in the Microsoft conference. So if you missed that one at all, you got to see the same one here. And then he went into actually talking about the game and showing it off. Like, it was a lot of legitimate gameplay too. You could tell it was a bunch of people just playing and not, it wasn't like, say, the Division 2 gameplay reveal where it was like really scripted moments where like whoever's like playing is like the camera's like, you know, slowly looking around and showing like, oh man, look at that. Whoa, look at that. No, this is clearly people just playing. Like, they had their guns out. They're like, oh, I got him. All right, got that. That was nice. That was nice to see. So, man, this game. Well, Codsworth was in it, and I like that. You leave the vault not because of some kind of catastrophic event or trauma or whatever. It's just, nope. After 25 years, this vault was supposed to open, and now it is. Have at it. That's fun. Big thing, obviously, it is multiplayer. They did confirm that. They also said you can play it single player solo the whole way through. Got the feeling that it's going to be way better multiplayer, but you can do it by yourself. They said that environments are pretty. There are 6 regions you can go into. They also made it a point to say that dying isn't game over. You don't lose your progress or your items or anything, which makes me curious as to how death will matter, what kind of penalty there is, or how they'll justify you reappearing within the game and in this world, because it is going to be like a sort of pseudo-persistent world on dedicated servers, even so that when you join a game online, you don't even see a server list, you just go right into it. But anytime you need to meet up with friends, it sounds like they basically seamlessly transfer one person's into the other server with the other friends, and all their stuff comes with them. And they said that they want dozens of players, not hundreds, not thousands, just dozens. If I had to guess, maybe, I don't know, 76 players or so. Just so that like the world feels populated, but it's not like a battle royale game, or it's not so sparse that you don't see anyone ever. That's kind of the vibe that I got out from it. And just based on the gameplay that they did show, which they did a pretty good job about, was you can form up to 4-player squads. I don't know if you can do like larger gangs or raids from there, but I saw at least 4-player groups playing together. We could see the life meters of people around you. You know, they showed a little bit of PvP combat too, and like they like finished injured a dude down to like he's down on his knees, and he takes out his gun and like shoots him in the head, and it explodes and kills the other player. And it looks like you got a bunch of a new kind of currency to use, either for, I think it was for base building and not necessarily leveling up. It wasn't experience points, it was a different kind of currency. Which, by the way, base building is also going to be the big thing. They said that you can build your towns. They specifically said build them anywhere, which is cool. And then when you transfer servers to be with friends, your base comes with you, which is awesome. And that you can build that with other players. You can kind of trade with other people. Your bases will be raided by, like they showed, like super mutants attacking or other monsters. So you also have to defend your base that way. Hopefully in a somewhat organic sense. But you were crafting turrets and defenses. So all the base building is back, which is awesome because that was one of the strongest aspects from Fallout 4. You also have a picture mode in case you want to take pictures with your friends, which is nice. Another thing they said was that what they really want to dedicate was that the world is up to the players. So, it's really up to the players if you want to be a good person or a bad person, or if you want to have like your faction versus another team of players, factions, or whatever. Like they are not setting that beforehand. You do it all on your own, which is really cool. In addition to that, they said there are multiple nukes within the world, and if you get one, do whatever you want with it. So you basically find pieces of a code to get into a nuke site, and you can like trade with other players, other teammates to slowly piece together the code, get into it, find the nuke, launch it. It just showed the map, and there were just all kinds of spots where you can just launch this nuke and you just pick that spot and be like, all right, fuck it, get them. So you could potentially nuke a rival player's base and just say, fuck all your shit. What I like the most about that is that you can then travel to the nuke site, and the landscape is completely warped and radiated and destroyed from all the fallout. And then there's gonna be new monsters in there and new resources that you could possibly collect. So that sounds fun. Just the fact that there's a constant threat of people potentially finding nukes, and that could potentially cause some cool role-playing moments where, maybe you start hearing that a certain team is so close to finding the nuke codes, and you go out of your way to kind of go and stop them. And there is going to be a beta at some point to help test servers and things, I'd imagine, which was going to be needed because when that game comes out, day one, it's gonna run like shit, even with this beta. Just keep that in mind. Day one, when it comes out, online play, it's gonna work like shit. You're gonna hate that. You're gonna be angry, but that's gonna be what launch is like. Speaking of, launch is November 14th this year, which is really exciting. I'm glad they're doing that. Biggest takeaway I got from the Fallout 76 though is what they didn't show, and these were my biggest concerns were coming from. They did not show that. Which makes sense to me because I don't know how they can do that within a multiplayer sense and have it be organic and work. Can't really pause or slow down time just because one person somewhere keeps hitting that VATS button. So they just didn't show it at all. So I have no idea if it's even still in the game or if they're just omitting it completely. I don't know yet, but I do think it's worth noting that they didn't show it. And the other major thing that they didn't show was any kind of NPC dialogue or interaction, which is also a little concerning. I mean, they wanted to focus so that every other person you meet was supposed to be a player, but that really could mean that all all NPCs they just don't exist. So rather having like a quest system or story or whatever, it really is just you in this world and just kind of doing whatever you want. Very similar to other online survival games. Rust was a big one that they keep comparing it to. So it's probably going to be more like that. So you can play it alone and do what you want, but man, if there's no NPCs or dialogue or people to talk to, it's going to be a lonely experience. Again, this is all speculation. I have no idea, but these are just a few things that I saw that you should pay attention to and just have those grains of salt with you just in case. They also announced that Fallout Shelter is coming to PS4 and Nintendo Switch tonight, so if you haven't played that at all, complete free game. I don't know, Fallout Shelter was fun and it's free. A free game on Switch is always tight. Why not? And then they went into the next Elder Scrolls game. Elder Scrolls Blades for mobile. Let me say outright, that looked tight. That looked really, really good. For a mobile game, that looked really, really good. And I was extremely interested in that. It's still like a full Elder Scrolls style game, but just for mobile. So you still created your own character. It's still the first person combat and exploring the world. They said that dungeons are going to be both handcrafted and procedural. You're still casting magic. They have an Abyss mode. It's going to be like more like a roguelike mode, which actually sounds pretty awesome. They have a PvP mode, an arena. They also have the town mode where you rebuild and construct a town. And that's probably sounds like going to be the main goal of the game, is reconstructing this town. You can also visit your friends' towns, which also sounds really, really cool. They showed the combat where, you can tap to swing, but then if you press your finger down, you can then move the sword how you want it, which reminded me a lot of like Daggerfall's combat, which I love. I always love that about Daggerfall, just having that organic mouse movement combat, only now it's just with your finger, and it looks like it makes a lot of sense. It's coming out for free sometime this fall. It's gonna they also want to have a VR version of it for all platforms, and it's cross-platform play, so someone playing on Android could be playing with or against someone in their VR headset at home or with someone on the PS4. They did say they want to try to bring it to as many platforms as possible, both mobile and console, which sounds great. Honestly, I saw it. It seemed like a really perfect perfect game for the Switch, especially with the touchscreen combat or use the Joy-Cons or whatever. But it looked really, really good. A lot of people are streaming it on Twitch, twitch.tv/ProJared if you want to join me for other press conferences. And a lot of people in the chat were immediately angry and kind of shitting on the game right away because it's mobile. And I don't think that's fair. Because just because it's mobile doesn't automatically make it bad. There are some super legit good mobile games out there, and this looks like one of them. How often are you on your phone when you're out and about? Imagine to be able to pull up and play Elder Scrolls for a little bit while you're waiting for a flight or a train or waiting for your food to get ready at Burger King or something along those lines. So that alone did get me excited for it. I actually really like the idea of having a robust single-player Elder Scrolls experience that I can't take anywhere with me. I do like that a lot. They said it's coming out for free, so I do wonder how they're going to monetize it. They did show picking up gold and gems, so I imagine gems is going to be like the paid currency. What you can spend those on, I don't know yet. My guess is going to be like speeding up base building or extra town cosmetics or something along those lines, hopefully, and not any other bullshit where it's like, oh, you took 3 steps and you got stamina. That would suck. But I don't know yet. But anyway, don't overlook this game just because it's a mobile. There's a lot of legitimate mobile games out there, and it's not going to be just mobile. It's going to be coming to, ideally, as many platforms as possible as well, and it should be checked out. And I know a lot of people got angry about that because, like, why would I play a mobile game when I could just play a console game? Well, it's like, well, it's because you can't take your PS4 with you everywhere, but you can take your phone anywhere with you. And just because this game exists doesn't somehow invalidate or make any of the console experiences suddenly not exist anymore or never going to happen again. That's not how life works. Just because this exists does not ruin anything else. So, check it out. I think it's worth keeping an eye on Elder Scrolls Blades. And then we got to the end of the press conference, and we got to 2 last announcements. And by announcements, I mean they showed logos. One, they talked about their next big, next-gen, single-player RPG game set in a truly unique original IP universe. And they confirmed the existence of Starfield. This is something we heard rumors about for, it was a couple months now? It was a couple of months, where basically, imagine a typical Bethesda style game like Elder Scrolls or Fallout, but in a space sci-fi setting. That's what it's kind of rumored to be, and that's what they showed. That sounds awesome to me. I would totally be into that. Spaceship combat or flying around or shooting laser guns and collecting science or some shit. I don't know. That sounds cool. I wish they showed anything more about it, because they said, yeah, we're working on it. This is a game that existed. I should mention everything before this, they said, is all stuff that's more or less planned for this year. And they said for these last 2 things, this is what's coming sometime in the future. So Starfield's going to be out for a while still, but I'm glad that they announced that and they are trying some new stuff, because I do get irked sometimes that anytime Bethesda comes up, people just say either Fallout or Elder Scrolls, almost to an obnoxious degree. So glad to see that Starfield is a thing, that it is coming, because I do want to see that. Speaking of, the final thing they showed was Elder Scrolls 6. That's it. They just showed the logo and everyone lost their shit, and then they told everyone to go home. And I know a lot of people are super excited about that, because I know a lot of people have been waiting for a new Elder Scrolls game since Skyrim came out in 2011 or 2012 or whatever it was. But this did not excite me for several reasons. One, it's just a logo. It's hard to get excited over just a logo. 2, they didn't really show anything about it or give us any kind of hints or details of what would make this one so much cooler or better than Skyrim. 3, are you really surprised that they aren't making another Elder Scrolls game? It just seems like an inevitability. They didn't even say when it's coming out. It could not even come out until like 2021. They didn't say anything else about it, but they just confirmed that they're working on it, which to me just seems like no shit. That's probably a much more cynical way of looking at it, I admit. And I know for a lot of people who are hungry for Elder Scrolls, they maybe just really, really need that. And I understand, but for me personally, it didn't really do anything. Sorry. But still, overall, this was a much better conference than the hot garbage that they had last year. So I'm really glad for that. Did have a couple of, weak spots. Talking about the Elder Scrolls card game wasn't exactly exciting. The Andrew WK concert was off. Great performance, but didn't really seem to fit at all. Wish they showed more on stuff like Doom or Quake Champions. Or even when they talk about the VR stuff, I felt like there's a lot more that they could have showed and seemed ready to show and not just really talked about. But they also did a really good job at announcing a lot of new things, a lot of free updates for games that are already out, that a lot of stuff that's coming this year, gave great detail about how Fallout 76 is going to work, or even showing off the Elder Scrolls mobile game and talking extensively about how that's going to work, rather than just announcing a mobile game and leaving it at that. So, overall, it was good. Not their best by any means, but this was still a good one. So for Bethesda overall, I'm gonna give them the B-. I know it's the same as Microsoft's, but they were good and bad in different ways. I'm gonna give this one the B- because a lot of stuff they showed off was good. Not excited about seeing logos. Not excited about all the things that they could have shown and then just didn't. But still, overall, it was good. Flowed well. They showed off a lot of really cool stuff. Did I miss anything out of that? I know the Elder Scrolls opinion is probably a little more controversial or dissenting. So if you agree with me on that, please let me know. Or if I am completely off on it and you're like just a huge Elder Scrolls fan and you're like, no, this was the biggest thing we need to hear, please let me know in the comments down below, because that also really helps. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Like the video if you still enjoy these kinds of things. And yeah, just leave a comment down below. And don't forget, lots of press conferences coming up. Tomorrow there's Square, Ubisoft, and Sony. I'll be streaming them all over my Twitch channel when they're live, twitch.tv/ProJared. And Nintendo's on Tuesday morning, of course. And I'll be having more recap videos for those too. I know I missed the EA one. I'm gonna go back and watch that, and I'll get that up at some point. I was away on travel during that, so I'll go back. I'll go back and get EAs. I haven't seen it all yet. I haven't seen anything or read anything. Don't spoil it. I'll go back and get it, and then I'll come back. Cool. All right. Lots more press conferences coming all this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it.